Can you start this, honey? And make sure it's good? Huh? It's so hilarious. Did you see the nut video I sent you? Dude, I was like, I don't think you understand. That was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time. So he made a joke, and he was like, I guess he was like riding a bike, and he like acted like he fell over, and his nuts were stuck in the wheel. So he got men to come help him, and it was like, no, don't pull. It was the funniest thing I've seen in such a long time. I don't think you understand. That was like, it was King Vi whatever. I don't really know. Hi guys. Okay, so we're about. Oh, let me get this a little clear for you. We're about to go live. Okay, let me make sure this lighting is bomb. Okay, with Jesse himself. So let me just go ahead and find him real quick. We have such like a funny story to tell y'all. So. Okay, let's see. Let's set you guys up right here.
Ha!
I know. I was like, wait, I don't want it to be like foggy. Oh, you're slipping. Hold on.
Dana, should I do this outside or inside? Outside or inside? I'm going to do it outside.
Well, I mean,
outside.
You still look fly. You still look rich. It don't matter. Inside,
Look what I
outside,
got
whichever
here.
way you want to do it.
I got a quarantine beard, man.
Oh my gosh, hold on. Don, can you please come here? He looks like half Wolverine. I swear. He looks like a caveman. I've never seen, like, because you have to know about Don. He's so, like, a stickler with his haircut.
What's up, Jesse? What's going on?
Now, you look clean, man. Mine's all multicolored and, like, scraggly.
We got to get to the barbershop, brother.
Listen. I always feel like if you're in a creative zone, you don't change anything. So I'm right now I'm in a good place. So I'm not changing anything. So I'm letting it go until I run into like a little bit of a, writer's block or something.
Is that
Do I look like a
Tepper?
writer? Yeah. Say hi, Tep.
I'm like, she doesn't remember me. Hi.
Dana, do people know the story of how you and I met?
No, let's tell them because I think it's actually hilarious. I'm going to be honest. I forget. Don, what were we doing? What were we in Atlanta for? It don't matter. It don't matter why we were there. But we were in Atlanta going to, like, I think a TV show appearance. And so I'm laying in the back, and we drove all the way from Philadelphia to Atlanta. And so I'm literally sitting there. I know that we're going to come right back. And I'm like, man, like, who can I shoot content with? Like, I want to have a good conversation. I want it to get interesting. Like, and then all of a sudden I come to your page. And when I think back about it, I was like, I really asked myself, what would make you think that you could just DM this man and he's going to answer? But I think that's just how I live my life. And I'm like, man, all right, whatever. What are you going to say? No? What, he's not going to answer? It doesn't really matter. Nobody will know.
Dana DM'd me and said, I'm in Atlanta. We never met. We weren't even like following each other. We weren't even like linked up social media or anything. And she said, I'm in Atlanta. I would love to come, shoot some videos or just talk to you. And I was like, I went to your page. I checked you out. And I was like, 20 minutes, you were in my living room.
With
a team of people. Well, I've always been someone that trusted my gut. I'm very in tune with my gut. I think that my wife always says that comes from spending time alone. It's like the only way to really be in tune. We all have this one superpower, like our intuition, and we've lost it because we listen to the radio and we listen to TV and we listen to social media and like everybody's whispering in our ear. And like sometimes we forget to trust our own instincts. I've always relied on that. I got a 980 on my SAT. I rely on my instincts. And I just checked you out. I was like, yeah, come on by. And then you rolled up in a van. It was like up in your van. And everybody came out. The crew came out. And then you guys stayed. It was unbelievable. And you know what my immediate gut reaction was? I'll tell you the truth. You're a superstar. You're a superstar. Yeah, I was like, you came in and, you know, you started asking me, you were very wise, great questions. And like, you know, I'm a little bit older. I'm battle tested. I've been through some stuff, you know, I've bootstrapped businesses, raised money for businesses, sold businesses that worked, didn't work. Been through a lot, man, you know, a lot. And you asked really good questions. And I was like, I was so impressed. I told Sarah, I was like, we got to get you on. Sarah does this interview series at Spanx, where every Friday or several Fridays of the month she interviews. She's had like Olivia Newton-John and Jane Fonda, amazing speakers at Spanx. And I said, we got to get Dana up there, man, because you offer a really fresh, clean perspective. I love it. I love what you guys are doing, what you've built, what you stand for. So you are always welcome to stop by my house. Now you don't even have to DM me. You can just show up.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to hang out and climb the rock wall. That's all. Like, I don't even care about you.
Let me just say one more thing. I always tell people when they're starting out in business, like I always say, if you don't have a seat at the table, you make your own seat at the table. And that's really what you did. You know, you came in and you put, for anyone listening that's an entrepreneur getting started in business, it's so important to put yourself in a position where good things can happen. And, you know, you reach out. You have to reach out. I had a dinner I went to, and at the dinner, they asked, I was there with 15 couples, and the host asked everyone to go around and name 3 people that were living that they would want to have dinner with. And everybody said the obvious, Oprah and Warren Buffett and all these. And when it came to me, all 3 of mine were rappers. And the reason was I wanted to meet the guys that changed the course of my life as a kid growing up in New York when I was 15. I wanted to thank them, you know? So after the dinner, I invited the 10 most influential hip hop artists in my life to my house for dinner. And they all came. And people are like, how did you get these? How did you get Rakim? He doesn't even get on an airplane. And I'm like, and the answer was, I asked them.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself in a position where people will either say yes or no. It doesn't happen watching TV at home. And that's what you did. You know, you came and you put yourself in a position, and you don't have, it's actually quite simple. You put enough of those out in the universe, and you're going to get a lot of yeses. So anyone listening that, you know, is scared to take a chance, the worst thing that can happen is you don't take a chance, you know? And the worst thing that can happen is I could have been like, Dana, no, I don't know you. You can't come to my house. Now we're linked up for life. Now we're split screened.
Yeah, I asked him to be like my stepdad. So I don't think he gave me an answer yet, but I asked. I think what you're talking about is, and a lot of people that I've met have said, oh my gosh, Dana, you have so much wisdom. And I'm going to be honest, I think I'm so grateful, despite it not being ideal and my dad not being my life in the beginning. I think what happened, because I had lacked that in the beginning, the second that I got it, I appreciated wisdom and knowledge and information from another generation, like the people who grew up with parents don't. They're like, oh, like, I don't want to hear it, Dad. Like, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh, Mom, like, you're so annoying. Like, I know you're trying to teach me. But it's like, because I didn't have that from someone who was outwardly successful, when me and my dad like got back together, I like listened so closely. Like, and I think that wisdom comes from me being able to like analyze different generations. What is it that they want? What is it they need? What is it that they lack? And just one thing that my dad taught me was like, yo, if you're not a solution-oriented person, you are going to find life very, very hard. You're going to be a victim to everything. You're going to just let things happen, and you're going to have to constantly play defense and not offense. And so the second that I started playing offense with my life, just in general, of me making decisions, me saying, all right, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that I'm capable. And I know that if I just put my mind to it, or if I train, not only am I going to be good, but I'm capable of being great at anything. Like, I picked up a lacrosse stick for the first time and was on varsity the first year. Like, I want to fight. I like MMA. I like boxing. Like, these, like, to me, I love being the Miyagi of like everything that I touch. And usually I think it's half anointing and half obedience that the how I got there. But for me, like when I reached out to you, I had this level of fearlessness that was built up by someone a little bit older than me who taught me like, hey, I'm still alive and I've been way through worse than you. So go for it. And if you fall, my dad likes to say, has this theory called like safety nets. And in every single new stage we come to, when it comes to like even making more money or trying a new task or me getting better as a leader, I essentially have been trained to create safety nets. So if I fall, I won't fall all the way to the bottom. I will just fall to a level of where I can restart myself and repivot. And so for me, when I reached out to you, I'm like, I'm trying to ration out in my brain where it doesn't make sense, but to me, nothing doesn't make sense. It's everything is like, this world is like a game to me. It's a beautiful opportunity to like be as badass as possible and help as many people along the way. And you'll have something to talk about at the end because that's all that life is. You can't stop it.
Yeah. It's so funny that you talk about a safety net. You know, when I started out, I had a very unorthodox journey. And I started out in the music business, which you know, but I started out and I did a show I was signed to a label called Delicious Vinyl. And they had a big artist at the time named Tone Loc and a guy named Young MC who won a Grammy for Bust a Move. And I was on this label and I did a show called Club MTV. It was hosted by Downtown Julie Brown. I do this, it's like the highlight of my career.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Listen. I do this show called Club MTV. Right after I get on an airplane, I fly to Pittsburgh to do my first show ever. When I get off the airplane, on a magazine rack are all these magazines of a magazine called Rap Pages. And I'm on the cover of Rap Pages. And I'm like, what? This is insane. I'm like, being on the cover of Rap Pages, it was like the equivalent of a businessman being on the cover of Forbes. It was incredible. So I buy all the magazines. I'm going to send one to my mom, my grandma. And as I'm checking out, I got 50 magazines. I look at the headline, and the headline with my picture on it said, "Are white rappers ruining hip hop?" So I'm like, so listen, 4 years after that moment, and that was a low point for me. I didn't want to go out of my house. There was no safety net. It was like, whoa, I'm the poster child of this shit. And 4 years later, I started a private jet company that did $5 billion in sales. I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. The reason why I'm bringing it up is when you play without a safety net and you play and you go through these things and you get smacked in the face, you're only one idea away from changing the trajectory of your life. You're one introduction away from getting a new job, you know? And I've always had the confidence that regardless of where I am, I'm going to find that one idea or that one person. And even if I try everything and I fail, I always had a confidence that it'd be someone that would hire me, you know? And I've always lived my life like that. And it's really served me well. And so for anybody listening out there that's going through this time in this process or whatever, just remember, you're not going to be stuck where you are forever.
Yeah.
You know, I do ultra marathons, and the people that get to, I've run 100-mile races. The people that get to 38 miles, you can't hear me? Oh,
No, I'm talking to them
crazy.
like you're crazy.
No. When you get to 38 miles in a 100-mile run, and you're like, oh my God, man, I'm broken. I can't go anymore. The people that realize you're not going to stay there forever, if you just go forward with relentless, constant forward motion, eventually you're going to get to a spot where you maybe feel better. All of a sudden things change and you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The people that think they're going to be stuck in this pain forever, they don't finish the race. So it's so important to remember that, like, wherever you are on your journey, it's not going to be like this forever. You're going to have ups and downs and peaks and valleys, and it's part of the process. And, you know, you're an entrepreneur, you're a go-getter. Part of being an entrepreneur is having a passion for the process. It's not a passion. People think like, oh, you got to have a passion for the widget you sell or the insurance you sell. You do. but you really have to have a passion for the process, the good, the bad, the struggle. Yeah, I slept on 18 different couches when I started out. Friends that put me up, they're like, you can sleep at my house, you can sleep on my couch, you can crash here. I never thought I was going to be stuck on a couch for the rest of my life. You know, it's part of the process. And I was like, this is cool. This is where I am right now. I'm going to look back on this, and it's going to make the celebration that much bigger. So, you know, that's the mindset. And it's helped me, man. It's helped me in a really big way. And even now, you know, a different chapter of my life, older, have kids, have gray, you know, even now it's the same mentality. It's like, you know, you got to have the underdog mentality the whole way. Even when you get a hit and you get a double or a triple, I've always, like, you know, you stay humble, you try to have that underdog mentality, and you try to have give people as much value. If you over index in value as a parent, as a husband, as a wife, as an employee, if you over index in giving value, amazing things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And we're very aligned in that, because you're very focused on your customers. You're very focused on your message and delivering value. And, you know, that should be the priority for everybody.
And I think, and it's extraordinary that you say that about having a passion for the process, because I would say that I'm not very passionate about any specific product, right? And when people think that, I think what happens is, you know, someone's working a 9 to 5 and they literally hate it every single day, but yet it produces the result that's necessary for survival. And so what ends up happening is when they're sitting there miserable, they're manufacturing in their mind that, oh, that success equivalates me being passionate in whatever I'm doing. What I've realized, especially for people who have never had anybody successful in their family or has never even done business before, is that a lot of the time, you don't need to be passionate about a product. Something just needs to be profitable and yielding a return and creating the result that changes your life. And so for me, when we were looking at like different types of businesses that we wanted to go into, and I swear, Jesse, when I tell you God has equipped me for everything that oh my gosh. And I'm not a very artistic person. And I feel like God made me not artistic for a reason, because usually there's a lot of passion wrapped up in artisticness. And when he gives me vision, and when I'm talking to him and he gives me ideas and he's showing me different things, he's purposely given me this sense of, okay, hold on. How can I be the distribution or the conduit of what will be provision for other people? And as long as you go into not the second, and I'm be honest, Jesse, he's told me this. Go ahead, people think I'm crazy because God talks to me, but he was very, very clear that the second that I do things that only benefit me is the second he's going to take everything away from me that I've ever built. And so he's very specific, because like if I tell you to do something, it's not to own a tax office and be the most successful tax office. It's not to own a beauty supply store and own the next beauty product on the shelf. It's to be the Walmart. It's to be the jumping jack tax, the facilitator to provide for other people. And that's where I need you, due to the fact that I know you're not so wrapped up in passion, and I know that you'll be obedient and do whatever I tell you to do, because business is not supposed to be about us. It's supposed to be, how many people's lives do we change with our ideas? And it's like, I'm like, you know, of course we're Netflixing it up right now, Jesse. And like, I'm just watching so many documentaries, and, you know, you hear the most extraordinary entrepreneurs, the Sarah Blakeleys of the world, the Jessies, the Bill Gates, all of them, the Warren Buffetts and the Damon Johns. And it's like, when I look at their story, there was such a difference between everybody else who's not them, or who has not received GOAT status or the GOAT award. And it's because they didn't really provide other people opportunity within what they created.
Yeah. Can I just add, I just want to say, you know, I have been in that situation. I've built, you know, businesses that work and businesses that haven't worked. And I'm going to, honestly, I mean this wholeheartedly, the things that have worked the best for me have been the things that have been built with heart and soul.
Yeah.
So the things that were like, oh, this is a product that I think is going to sell just because I think, I think it makes sense to be on the shelf. They didn't have, it has to be, when you build something, the universe knows when you build it with heart. And they know when you put your soul behind it and your heart behind it. And you can't cheat that. People are too smart. In the long run, you can't cheat it.
Yeah.
So it's a step that it's people, take for granted or think it's hokey, but it's really real. You gotta put your heart into it. And that means your heart in picking the fonts, in picking the colors, in thinking about how the customer is going to react, the words that you write, the thank you notes that you write.
Yeah.
I've built major businesses on heart and just caring the most, because at the end of the day, okay, sweetheart, I'm wearing 9 different hats. I'm a husband. I'm a 4 kids. No, it's crazy. At the end of the day, that's really important. Dana, I came into this quarantine like, I'm going to do so much in this quarantine. I have so much free time now because I don't have to commute and I don't have to go to work and meetings.
Gosh, yes.
So I'm like, week 1, I'm going to write a book. In in 1 week, I'm going to write a book.
Did that happen?
Man, I was like, week 2, I'm going to do a documentary. Week 3, I'm going to write another book. 2 books and a documentary. No, I've done nothing. And the first couple of weeks, I was, felt so guilty and like terrible. And then I realized I have enough pressure. I have parents that are elderly. Yeah. I'm worried about during the virus. I have kids I'm worried about. The last thing I need is to put more pressure on myself during the virus to do more. Just because all the experts are telling me, you're home, you have so much time. Like, maybe it's a time like just to be home. And like, so I simplified the quarantine and took all this pressure off me. And every day I'm just doing, I have 3 boxes. I made a grid, April 1 through April 30. And then I have my business, my family, and my wellness, my family and friends and wellness. And every day I just try to do one thing in each box.
That's
and
good.
So like, it's been really helpful, I don't know. Did you feel really like the need at first to get so much done because you were home?
Well, I am a young leader. I'm a young leader. So it's like I'm running a my company, right? But yet I'm experiencing things for the first time. So I will indeed say that I went to in psycho crazy. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure that I create great process and procedure for us to all flourish in this time, because I've never been through nothing like this before. Right. And so I will say, and then at that I was like, okay, well, how is this going to impact? And, I'm sitting here, everyone's watching the news, but what I was doing, I was watching the people. I said, how are people feeling? What are people doing with their money right now? What are people willing to invest in? What people don't want to invest in? And I will say there was a little bit of guilt in me too, because Jesse, you have to be mindful, since we own Jumpin' Jack Tax, and they made those stipulations where you have to have your 2018 or 2019 tax returns done in order to get your stimulus check. And you Google, do my taxes online. Mind you, no one can move, no one can go anywhere. When I tell you, we grew psycho crazy. I've never seen so many customers. All of our partners, we have 700 partners across the country now. When we met, we only had like 300. Right. So now it was almost in a sense where it was like, once again, obedience, right? So when we're sitting here and we're thinking of building Jumping Jack Tax, we said, well, my passion is for families. How can I make sure that families have a source of income in a deficit or yearly, or what can we build? We know that we have marketing. We know that we have advertising. What can we share with other people as a trade? And so you sit here and you have Trump going on television telling everybody, hey, I'm giving these stimulus checks out, but you need to make sure your taxes are done. We were like, oh my gosh. And we were built for this. And it's like everything that we had told the families that we provide for, that we built Jumping Jack Tax for, it came true. And I'm like, this is why we create need-based businesses. Because a lot of us are so stressed out about money right now. And at first, I felt a little guilty too. I'm like, dang, do I feel guilty that we're doing really, really good right now in this time? I said, oh, hell no, I'm not feeling guilty. I'm not feeling guilty right now. This is what we built this for. I said, I'm not doing that. And I said, most importantly, we got 700 families right now that wouldn't have a source of income if it wasn't for us building this and sharing what we know. And so I was like, I'm not feeling guilty. So it's like, I think as a young leader, Don and I, like, we've just been bouncing back and forth. And I'm gonna be honest, like you said, that commute thing, it opened up almost 2 hours of our time to just think and brainstorm. And us, Don and I, going for walks every single day. We go for a walk every single day. And our ideas have literally pivoted, jumping jack tax in all the companies. And we've grown exponentially because Don and I had time to like sit and talk and go back to the basics of when we first started the business of like being co-founders and bouncing ideas off of each other. So it's like we've made a lot of money, we've innovated so much, and it's like I felt guilty in the beginning first, but then I'm like, oh, this is so exciting. Like, oh my gosh, this is everything that we talked about of like building a need-based business to be resourceful right now.
I love it. I love it. And I don't get me wrong. Like, I'm using this time to work too. And all I'm saying is I had to take some of the pressure off myself of having to feel like I had to do so much, you know, during this time. What you guys have done is unbelievable. And I'll tell you, Dana, when I started out, I had successful, real successful entrepreneur. And I needed business advice. And I went to see him and he said, I would trade everything that I had. This guy was a multi-zillionaire. I was sleeping on my friend's couch. And he said, I would trade everything that I have for the one thing that you have. And I'm like, me? I have $118. Like, what are you talking about? This guy owned the New York Yankees, by the way. And I said, what's that? And he said, youth. You know, and he didn't mean like being 21. He meant the process of going through all the, like going through
the newness, the freshness, the excitement
of like growing your business, going from 200 people to 300 people or one person to two, getting your first sale. It's like, it's exciting. And he had already achieved all that, you know, and you're going through it now. I mean, you've built an amazing business and you have an amazing community, but you're still in the journey and it's fun, man, you know? And I feel like a lot of people, I know we got a lot of people watching this that are young, starting out in business, you know, and that's super important, but it's also super important not to lose your 20s and your 30s, not to lose your soul when you're going through the process.
This has to be the worst advice you've given me because I don't want to follow it. Like, legit, I'm like, no, Jesse, like, this is so exciting. It's so fun. And he's like, dude, chill. I'm like, how can I chill?
It is great, but you got to also be sure to weave in. You know, nothing's worth giving up in my opinion. This is just my opinion. In my opinion, no money, no anything is worth giving up your 20s and 30s. You don't get them back. You can't buy them back. So, you know, you want to have that kind of balance where you're working and building your community, building your business, maybe growing your family if that's what you want to do. But I think it's still important to have 20, 30-year-old adventures and still experience. That's just my opinion on it. I had friends that went from 20 to 40 and they did really well, but they went from 20 to boom. At 22 years old, they looked like they were 40 and it's not worth it. To me, it wasn't worth it. So listen.
Jesse, I'm trying to look. I look sometimes like I'm 16. I'm trying to stay like this as long as possible. So wait, Jesse. Okay, I have a question. I think one of the most extraordinary things about your dynamic is not only that you're a dad and a husband. I can't really get marriage advice from my dad. And so if there is like any kind of piece of advice that you would give like Don and I to like, because I've even realized like in the beginning when we were first trying to just see what we were both good at by ourselves, we had this this extreme love to like you said, in unison entrepreneur. And so it's like we're seeing each other grow in a specific way for the first time. And I'm just like watching him go through things that I've been through in the beginning. And he's helping me with like leadership and because I think that's honestly, I'm going to be completely honest. People ask like, hey, like, can you be an entrepreneur? Like, is everybody meant to be an entrepreneur? My answer is no. The difference between being an entrepreneur and just having a trade to make extra money, absolutely you should be doing that. But it's your leadership capabilities. Can you do what's necessary to and especially in a time like this where everybody wants, I think, Jesse, you could testify to this, that everybody now wants to know who they're spending money with. Everybody wants to know the story behind. Everybody wants to know your morale. Everyone wants to know, how do you feel about this, and how they want to know all of that. You can't just be an entrepreneur. They want to know who the entrepreneur is behind the business. And so it's like, I'm watching both of us flourish in such an extraordinary way. And it's like, is there's any piece of advice that you found that you and Sarah came into and you were like, okay, hold on, we have to stop, we have to talk about this and kind of let's pivot this way. If there's anything, like, because you guys are both entrepreneurs, you guys are both pulled in 50 million different directions, you guys both are so competitive, so extraordinary, how do we make sure that extraordinariness doesn't clash and doesn't take away or give or not give?
Well, on the entrepreneur side, I found that people buy into people and stories and momentum more than products.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're the business plan. People, the emotional connection is to the person behind the brand, not really the logo or the brand. That's
so true, guys.
When it comes to marriage, look, I'm a work in progress too. I've been married for 11, coming up on 12 years. But let me say this, you have to be aligned on how you want to parent before you become a parent. And a lot of the things that happen in marriage, like you meet somebody, you get excited about the relationship and this feels like the right person. I love my wife, but a lot of the things that we go sideways on are things we never thought about. Like, I'm really strict on food and my wife is the other way, and we have to come to a compromise because as far as I know, people eat 3 times a day. So you got to be aligned on that. You got to be aligned on how you want to raise them, how you want to discipline your kids. All these things come to the surface, and it's important to have the same values, because you're not going to be aligned and go through every topic, but the values, if your values are aligned, you'll be able to navigate through these things. So that's really important. And I think also you have to prioritize, you have to work on your marriage. You have to take time. We have a date night every Wednesday. It's just, we go away once a quarter, even for a night, even if it's a staycation. We've invested certain times that we get time together because Sarah runs Spanx full time. I have a business and a coaching program and 4 kids, and we do together and all these things. We get pulled in different directions, but we know on Wednesdays it's our time. And the other thing I would say is it's really important to be where your feet are, to be super present. So if you're with your wife or husband, you're with your wife or husband. If you're working, you let them know, I'm working. I can't really talk right now, because you don't want to have resentment to your wife or your husband, or your partner or whatever, that they're taking away the things you love to do. So if I'm going out of balance, if I have a big goal, I tell my wife, I'm training for a marathon. The next 3 months, I'm going to really focus on this, and I need your support.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel guilty when I'm running that my wife is mad at me. And I don't want her to resent me from taking that time. So it's really about communication and being on the same page. And, look, it's hard, man. It's not anybody who says, it takes work. So we work on it constantly. My wife just said, like, I need to talk to you. I need you to not take any more calls for the rest of the day. And I did. I canceled everything. I canceled 3 important calls because they weren't as important as my wife. So you got to just remember that along the way.
Yeah, I've realized it's so crazy because, of course, Don and I are with each other every single day, all day. But I don't think people are like, oh my gosh, like, how could you guys do that? Like, I could never be with my spouse all day. And it's like, sometimes we're together, but we're not together at all mentally. Like, we may be sharing the same space, but we have different roles in our relationship during different times of the day. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's so interesting to kind of see that. But I mean, of course, I wouldn't want it any other way. I'm obsessed with being next to my husband every single day. I think he has just one of the most extraordinary minds. And I look at what we have with each other and how we're able to grow because we have each other. I mean, I couldn't imagine in the middle of the night talking about me running for president in 2032 and not having someone by my side who truly believed that I could accomplish greatness. Like, and so it's an extraordinary thing to feel. And it's like, oh my gosh, when you realize you have something so sacred and something that's only chosen by God and given to you, you realize how many people don't have that.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people A lot of people are commenting on my headband. I just want to say thank you. I don't know where I got it, but
It's his signature.
I've been doing it since like 1986. The other thing I would say, Dana, just to add, and if I lose you for any reason, it just means my phone died. And
okay, yeah. So we'll start wrapping it up.
No, I think I'm good. Sarah's got a big business in Spanx and a big platform, and gets a lot of attention, and I love it. When the light is on her or shining on her, I'm her biggest cheerleader. I love it. And I still go to her speeches. I still get emotional when I hear her story every time. It's important and for a guy that could be intimidating. I know a lot of friends in similar situations, and you're in a situation too. You have a powerful voice, a loud voice, and a community. It could be threatening or challenging to a partner, or vice versa. But I think, going back to your advice, it's like we're just each other's biggest cheerleader, and I think that's really important. And humor is important. Laughing about decisions, laughing about mistakes is an important part of it, and not taking it so serious. Part of that's understanding your own mortality. We're only in 100 years. There's gonna be a new wave of humans here. None of us watching this are going to be alive. So
we're not going to matter.
No, no. When's the last time you thought about Steve Jobs? The guy changed our life more than anyone. Do you wake up today thinking about Steve Jobs? No. I mean, it's kind of like we get insignificant fast. I hate to say it, but the reality is, when you recognize that, it changes the way you approach fear. Like, why would I be scared to go give a speech? Everyone's going to be dead in 100 years. Like, of course I'm going to. So let me go try. Why do I care that I was on the cover of a magazine that said I ruined hip hop? I know you care real time, but at the end of the day, people go back to their own problems and their own worries and their own fears. And I do the same thing. So at the end of the day, let me just wrap it up with this. Everybody comes home.
That's good.
If you're home at the end of the day, let's listen to this. You go to the Oscars, and everyone's there, and they're paparazzi, and these celebrities are on the cover of all the magazines, and it was an amazing night. But when those lights go out, they go home.
Yeah, that's good.
To nobody, or one person, or a family of 4 or 5, and that becomes their entire world. All the lights and the stuff that goes out and the stuff that they post, all that stuff goes away, and their head hits the pillow next to the person in their life. Okay? At the end of the day, if your home isn't right, you're not going to be right.
Sheesh.
Period. If your home isn't right and it's broken, because you can't hide from that. You come home to that every day. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. The magazines and all that shit. So at the end of the day, you got to fix home. Whatever that is. And home could be you. If there's one thing everybody could do in 2020, in 2020, is pick one thing that's broken in your life and fix it.
That's good.
As humans, we're wired. We don't like confrontation. We're wired to add more on our plate, what we love to do. I will avoid my marital problems, and I'll watch a football game because it's easy and fun. Working on my marriage is hard and takes time. So we try to cover it up by putting more on our plate. The number one thing you could do, if you want to live a 12 out of 10 life, you got to fix your problems, and you got to fix your major ones. And most people's problems are around weight, finances, and relationships.
So good.
Weight, finances, and relationships. So you got to fix them one at a time, man. You got to commit. Last year, I committed to fixing something that wasn't working for me and for Sarah. And it was hard, but I did it. And that made 2020 much better. But then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to stop there. What am I going to fix this year? And it could be a little thing like I'm always late. I'm not going to be late anymore. Or, I cut Sarah off. I'm not going to cut her off anymore. It doesn't have to be a monumental thing like I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Hey, Linky, this is my son.
Hey!
What bunny ears? Are you bunny earsing me?
I love that. And I think some people, once again, it stems from that lack of confidence, feeling that they're the answer. And I just encourage anybody on the line. There's 466 people. To be honest, no therapist, no TV show, no course, no business will be the solution that you are to your family and to the relationship you have with the people who love and care about you. And I will testify to that. The only reason I'm here and I'm 26 and I look extraordinary, I look cool, is because I've fixed my home. And I will say I took responsibility to what I know I could do. And I just encourage anybody else, don't think that it's too far gone, it's too far fetched. Like, my dad has called me every name in the book. We did not get along. Me and my mother still going through it. You know what I mean? I didn't talk to my sister, but it just takes one person. And I'm going to be honest, it takes one person, just one, to say, hold on, we can't live like this anymore. And I'm willing to do my part. And as long as I do my part, I'm going to hold, I love you so much that I'm going to hold you accountable. You're the part, because we can't live like this anymore. And so I just encourage anybody that's listening. I think Jesse and I have it where we 100% hold no one else responsible for what we know we can change. We know what we will change, and we know what will become better after we touch it and put our mind to it. So I just encourage anybody, you are the answer. I promise you, you are. It can feel defeating. You can feel like you're not qualified. You can feel like, I'm going to keep it a whole being. Ready for this?
Hold on, Dana. Hold on. Did I just see DJ Scratch on this?
I don't know.
Oh, we got some legends in here. So if that is DJ Scratch, I'm a mega fan, man. I'm a mega fan of yours.
I am too.
And EPMD.
I don't know. But
Sorry,
so I just encourage y'all. Y'all are the solution, and y'all can make it happen. It's hard and it's tough, and it takes constant work. It doesn't just change. It doesn't just change with the prayer, but once again, it changes with obedience, and you saying, I don't want it like this no more. And I love you enough, and you love me enough. We have to do something different. And so, I mean, yeah, that is DJ Scratch.
Before DJ Scratch goes,
that's him.
Yeah. So when I got signed to Delicious, it might even before I was signed, I went out and somehow I went to like an EPMD concert, and somehow I ended up on a tour. But still, there's no way he remembers this. But so nice to me at a time when he didn't have to be.
Aww.
He would never remember this. So I just wanted to thank you for that in my life. It was there's a couple of memories that I have, and that was one of them that always stuck out to me. Just was super cool. So, and he's like the most talented DJ I've ever seen in my life. So I love that you're on here, man. I want to.
Hey, DJ Scratch.
I always said this: if you have an opportunity, or I made my living complimenting people, congratulating them, and consoling them.
That's good.
All my customers, my employees, my staff, if you get an opportunity to compliment or congratulate or console, what does that mean? It means saying, oh, hey, Brian, it's Jesse. I just want to let you know you're an unbelievable dad. I'm calling you up to tell me, I as a dad of 4, you inspire me the way you parent. That's how you compliment someone, not because they're on the cover of the Wall Street Journal. And you congratulate them whenever you can. Hey, Brian, I heard your son got into college. Unbelievable, that kind of thing. And you console. I had the worst thing happen. One of the worst things that could happen to me as a parent. And the next day, Dougie Fresh, the rapper, knocked on my door. I said, Doug, what are you doing here? He said, when you get news like that, you don't call, you show up.
Yeah.
So if I have a chance to compliment someone or thank them real time, I don't waste it. So I'm not trying to be kiss someone's butt or anything. That's a real moment that I remember. DJ Scratch is part of a foundation, the Jam Master Jay Foundation I'm part of. A lot of people fell off of that. He stepped up, always chimed in, always helped. So it's just like, you remember that stuff. This is a time of the world where you take I'm taking inventory. I want to be known as a great human during the virus and the pandemic. I want to be known as someone that reached out to my friends, called my parents. I want them to be like, whoa, I'm taking an inventory of who didn't reach out to me, during this time. And I want to, that's a big part of my life. I want to be remembered as a great friend. Not like that is a real priority to me, as a great boss, as a great, everything. So if you get an opportunity to thank somebody or congratulate them, you take it, because you never know if you're going to get that opportunity again. So I didn't want to miss that opportunity.
The best.
I haven't seen Scratch ever in real life in maybe 30 years. There's no way he remembers. But it actually, remember, I told DJ Hurricane the same story about a month ago. So I really mean it.
The best investment truly is kindness. It really is. It truly is kindness. And so we'll close it out. Let's just pray it out real quick because we have a lot of people on here who, are just going through some stuff. And I would just love to pray over you specifically and your family, Jesse. So, Lord, we come humble before you and we ask that you forgive us for our sin. We're so grateful that you've chosen us, but most importantly, that you've given us the will and you've surrounded us around people who love us and care us enough to actually care about the outcome of our lives. And I just want to say thank you, God, so much for putting Jesse in mine. It was so unexpected. And I just want to say I'm so grateful for knowledge and wisdom wherever I can get it, God, because I know that you've called me to do something specific, not just for myself and for my own family, but for other people. And so every single time that you bring people into my life like Jesse, or people who are willing to just share and just information and kindness and love, I'm just so grateful that you did what you were supposed to do in their life, Lord. I'm just asking that you just send Jesse a specific blessing over his life with his health, with his goals and with his mindset. But most importantly, God, I just ask that you bless Jesse's household, that you continue to allow his kids to watch the freedom in his wife that they've created in their relationship, in their marriage, in their business, and in their life, that you continue to show their kids to just be obedient to their parents and to trust them and to love them and to care about them and to truly trust their guidance, Lord. I pray that you continue to be in the midst of Jesse and Sarah, that you continue to fight for them when they even feel like they don't feel like fighting, God, that you just continue to bless them with knowledge, with information, and with purpose every single step of the way that they continue to get older in age, God. I know that you're there. I know you're in that home, and just continue to send people that need them. There are not a lot of people like Jesse, God, and so while he's here, please, God, send him anyone who needs him, who needs your wisdom, who needs your love, who needs you, that light, that feeling. Send them to Jesse because he's here, he's willing, and he's ready, God. And I just ask that you continue to bless everything that his and his family touches. We're so grateful that I've met him and that I'm honored to watch his journey. And so thank you so much, Lord. And I just ask you to continue to fight for them, continue to love them, continue to surround them with extraordinary people who are willing to continue to fulfill their vision within these next few stages of their life, that you continue to have a hedge of protection over their children, and that they see everything good in their parents, to just love them and just be thankful for who they were given. So we thank you for your leadership, and we love you, Jesse. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. All right. Bye, guys. Talk to y'all later.